Well, okay, blade lovers, we've got a crazy and unusual one for you today. OG Blade Reviews with you, as you must know by now. Back again with, I decided to call this one triangular shaped EDC tactical knives. That's the long version. Or triangle knives or blades, triangular blades, as you can see. They're all in this kind of a shape. Might be stretching the limits with some of them, but I do feel that they're basically a triangular shape. As I began collecting knives, buying knives, and I began to notice this prevalence, particularly with two companies, Auxilliary Manufacturing first and then Armis knife and tool. That's Michael Grasso, great guy, and the other Michael from Auxilliary Manufacturing. I'm going to do a reveal here so you're not in suspense much longer. How about this? And that's almost everything on the table. And I got my crib notes over on the side here, my study notes, so that I remember the names of all these darn knives. And I'm going to go top row and then bottom row. That's easiest for me. So, what's the advantage in a triangular shaped blade? Well, they're pretty easy to fabricate because you profile them like that for the most part, except for a couple on the table here. And they are basically an arrow-shaped blade, okay? I mean, you can see that. And they are piercy as all get out. I gotta move a couple things to get my target over here. There's my target. Piece of mil-spec foam. You can see it's already pretty cut up. But these guys just really pierce without much trouble at all. And guess what? They still cut. So this one, to name them, is the Armis VSK Mini or Mini VSK that I reviewed not that long ago. And by the way, full reviews are available on all of these on the channel. So if I don't talk a lot about each one and you want to know more, just look up those reviews. You can search the channel and you can find these pretty easily. So Michael Grasso, Armis Knife and Tool, and that, by the way, is Michael Jarvis. Sorry for getting your last name, Michael Jarvis of Auxilliary Manufacturing. There are two really prevalent custom makers that like this shaped blade. So VSK, very sharp blade or very stabby blade is what it stands for. This is the Mini, and it's just hand filling. Beautiful cryptic acrylic handle on this guy, and nice sharp edge. This is AEBL on this. No, I'm sorry, Nitro V. He's using Nitro V, and I know there's a steel shortage, and Mike Jarvis put out something recently that he's going to need to start using some other steels because there's a shortage, apparently, according to him, of AEBL and perhaps even Nitro V, which are the two steels he's been using. So he may be wandering off into some others, and that'll be interesting to see. But this is the smaller version of the larger one we're going to get to in a bit. And you can see that this roughly 3.5-inch blade is really nicely set up for both saksak, which is the Filipino name for edge forward, point up, and pikal or pakal, which is generally edge in and point down, but in this case it'll just be edge out, point down. So that's one very triangular shaped blade. We're going to move on to something called the Karl by Auxilliary Manufacturing. This one happens to be pretty rich in both handle and blade. This is Magna Cut, And Michael Jarvis hardens that Magna Cut, according to him, up to 63 to 64. So he goes way up there with his hardness, near the maximum hardness for a Magna Cut. And we've got a really beautiful fat carbon handle on this. I think it's a lava flow or something like that. I forget the name of all the fat carbons, pardon me. But he uses this rock pattern. Armis uses the rock pattern as well as a flat or textured handle as well. Handles are similar on these two, with this swell in the middle and two large finger grooves. So that also caught my attention. And they both have that bird's beak type of handle that allows you to pull it out of the sheath very easily, and it also locks it into the hand. So not only do we have kind of a built-in forward guard, but we also have that pommel that allows us to prevent slippage, so you can't slip off of that handle or it's very difficult. A little slimmer handle on this one. Blockier handles is what you're going to see on the Armis, but Michael Grasso is willing to customize those for you if you want them a little different. Nice flat sort of handle, even with the rock pattern on the Karl. And naturally, it's a bigger knife. We're going to compare it with the full-size VSK in a moment. And he includes on his this beautiful rock pattern all the way down the blade. Just a really nice, well-balanced, tactical / defensive knife. Moving down, another custom knife. So custom. We will get into a couple semi-custom production knives in a moment with the Bastanelli, which is coming up next. This is the 302 by Aaron Bieber, AB Knives, Magna Cut, also about a 63 to 64 Rockwell HRC. And I'm saying it's triangular shaped, okay? It's a little different because you've got a little bit of a belly there as opposed to the straight. And you've got the triangle really starting in this area. But, you know, if you discount this thumb swale there, you do have a triangle. So that's why I included it. Tell me if I'm wrong. And a beautiful Tsukamaki wrap with rayskin underneath. And that's just a gorgeous traditional Japanese style wrap that Aaron does. This is such a comfortable knife in the hand. And if you haven't held these sorts of handles before, the modern Tsukamaki wraps, most everybody is epoxying them after they wrap them, so they really stay permanently bonded together. And your fingers fit into those natural grooves. And it is super non-slip. Magna Cut, as I said, on this one. And he uses on this particular model, on this particular variant of the model, a deep finish. So it's kind of this interesting dark pebbled surface. Almost has a texture to it. A little bit of sheath wear there, that happens. But that's the AB Knives 302. Highly recommended. We get to a production knife by Bastanelli, the Foreigner. This is an M390. He's starting to do M390 back, going back a couple years. And I was going to include another one, was kind of a push knife, the Gambler, which is also a triangular shaped knife, but I think I must have eliminated it last minute or forgotten to put it on the table. Very flat handle on this one. Again, more or less a triangular shaped blade with a big thumb swale in here and a one finger groove and then a big swale in here with kind of a drop down, kind of a bent or curved handle. The fit and the feel is really nice. He jimps the handle in a couple places, lots of jimping on the blade, and even some forward jimping that Bastanelli is known for. That's Bastian Cove of Bastanelli Knives. He is the main creative mind and owner of Bastanelli Knives. Micarta here for the handle. They do it in both a green and a black. This is gray looking, but they call it black. Completely encapsulated tang. Two halves. There is a seam down the middle. Very nice and lightweight and thin. All of these come in excellent Kydex sheaths. I'm not going to spend the time showing you the sheath. Again, if you want to know more about these knives, check out the full reviews. But that is the Foreigner by Bastinelli Knives. Now I'm going to go back up here. Full custom knife by Dirk Pinkerton. S35VN. This is the Broadhead. Kaiser has also done the Broadhead in a commercial production version. Not yet, as far as I know, in this full arrowhead version, but they have a Wharncliffe and a few others. Can't recall. I think I do have the Wharncliffe from Kaiser, but that doesn't fit into this scenario. He left the natural finish on the flat here, almost a forged look. He's got his maker's mark there. This is a type of a micarta that I can't recall the name of, but you probably know with the lines through here. I'm sure somebody will tell me. Lots of ways to hold this guy. You could use the index finger. You could use the middle finger like a push dagger. That's probably the most common way to use this. You can just pinch it here, right? You can put your pinky through it. Kind of difficult to get that started, but makes a beautiful Pikal knife in that form. Really minimalist though, and comes with a minimalist sort of a sheath. Easy to pull it out. I said I wasn't going to show the sheaths, but let me at least show you this one, if I can find it. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. Fits in either way, and he offsets it, and you can put the clip of your choice on here. DCC or Ulti-Clip would work quite nice, but you can see that's sort of canted so that the way it rides, you can pull it out on an angle. That is the Broadhead Custom S35VN Pinkerton Customs. Beautiful knife, and Dirk is just an amazing guy, very generous, great pricing on his knives. I think you're going to see them going up because he's been a bit underpriced for years and makes some of the best knives in the industry, full custom knives, as well as designs for concept and many other production knife makers. Okay, Karl Jr., the little brother to the Karl. Same design, same maker, Michael Jarvis, Auxilliary Manufacturing. This one happens to be an AEBL rather than Magna Cut. Got the same beautiful rock pattern here. Initially one of my favorite carry blades. 3-inch blade, I believe. Yeah, exactly 3-inch blade, or for you metric folks, a 7.5 centimeter blade with a slightly less cutting edge. Very fine point, and yet not overly fine. As I was saying, great for Pikal, fits perfectly. Still full handle, plenty of handle for sock. And, the handle's about as long, but because this isn't as abrupt as on the Armis VSSK Jr., or Mini rather, this opens out a little bit, gives you a little less cramped feel for your hand. Got the rock pattern going. We've got some fat carbon from the Fat Carbon Company here. I think this is their deep black, I forget the name of it. Again, I can't remember all the Fat Carbon names, but it's just really beautiful. It attracted me to it. And an excellent EDC knife. If you can afford a custom, and these are all hand ground, as are Pinkertons, as are Armis, great way to go. Getting to another well-known, becoming even more well-known and highly regarded CNC custom maker. I have to say, CNC, when they're turned out basically on a machine, but lots of personal programming, hand finishing. I believe it's Yanni. And last name, sorry, Yanni, forget it. Compliance Edge. This one's in 3V. Got this quite a while ago. This is the DCK, and it is a double edge. Of all the knives on the table, it is the only double edge. You can get it in single edge. You could argue it's not triangular because we have some very gently sloping bellies, broad bellies on both sides. He puts a fantastic edge on his knives. You can see they're basically a polished edge. Extremely sharp. Makes this perfect for pical, because you've got that edge in, even though you've got some very heavy jimping here. But contrary to a visual look, see, it is not sharp. They're rounded over. But your flesh does fit in there, and you're not going anywhere. We got the same thing, interestingly, on the pommel. I was told through an interview, I think on Bob DeMarco of Yanni from Compliance Edge, that he got the design from somebody with a lot of experience in military/law enforcement, based on what he felt would make a really effective knife. Could have been a Navy SEAL, not sure. Sorry if I don't get all my stories straight, but you know, these things come across my radar. I read about them and so forth, and just don't accurately catalog them in the old noggin. What can I tell you? Stone pattern on this one. We've got scales with a shadow box effect for the tang there. That does make it easier so that they don't need to hand finish these flush, but it's still a nice look. I went with the gray G10 and the bronze Cerakote on these. It is an excellent EDC tactical knife. Let's put it over here. Finally, Armis again. This was the full-sized VSK that the mini VSK was based on. You can see the difference. Considerably larger and full-sized. That means all four fingers for my medium-large hand fit in there really, really well. And that's right, on the mini, there is no jimping on the thumb ramp. On the full-size, there's this very fine file-like jimping. And on both, he has this really heavy stonewash, distressed, dark wash look. Desert tan on this guy, nothing fancy for that, but I did request the rock pattern. I thank Michael Grasso for sending these my way for review, both the mini and the full size. Much appreciated. Love the bird's beak. It just locks you right in there. And about a, what do we got for this one? Just so you got to compare, 3-inch on that one, and about 3, what do we got? About 3 3/4, a little short on this guy. So getting up there near 4 inches, but I would say perfect size blade for EDC and for daily tactical wear. One thing I will show you is the trainer for the mini VSK. Really nice. I think he uses the same steel. It may just not be hardened. These go for about 50 bucks if you have a VSK and you want a trainer. Blue handle makes it stand out as the trainer, obviously. Fits the same sheath as that Mini. And really nice carryable knives. Yeah, I'll put that in there. There you go. Hope you enjoyed this. Right about now, you're going to see my logo over here. And as I always say, if you click on the logo, you can subscribe to the channel. I hope if you've been watching a lot of these reviews that you do subscribe and you'll be notified when new videos drop. Be well. Take care. Stay safe. With these knives, you will. Take care.